Doom. 4 letters, 2 gun barrels, 1 space marine, and boatloads of demon guts. id Software first welcomed us to this gory world in 1993, changing the shooter genre and video games forever. In the 3 decades since, Doom has refused to stand still, experimenting with the form it helped pioneer. Whether it be the sci-fi horrors of Doom 3, all the way up to this year's shotgun and shield-fueled Doom the Dark Ages, we all have our favorite. So we've decided to rank each mainline entry here. Without any further ado, let's rip and tear through every Doom game ranked. 2004's Doom 3 is the result of an ultimatum that technical director John Carmack issued to the rest of id, and it kind of feels that way. Carmack was dead set on making a next-generation remake of Doom to showcase the impressive new lighting and shadow capabilities of the id Tech 4 engine. His Doom co-creator, John Romero, was long gone at this point, and the remaining id OGs were staunchly opposed to what they saw as a retread, a tech demo in search of a purpose. Carmack very publicly overruled them, and thus we have Doom 3. Perhaps the biggest sidestep the series has ever taken, Doom 3 is a slower, more story-driven affair than the first 2 games. There are voiced NPCs.
Huh? No, please. You must let me get this communication out.
Lore-filled terminals, jump scares, and monster closets that instill a sense of anxious survival horror, and a sharp contrast to the run-and-gun arcade frenzy of the classic Doom. It's a valiant effort to bring Doom to a new generation of gamer culture. The problem is that this generation was extremely ugly. id's decision to showcase the game's lighting engine is its fatal flaw. You can't see anything, intentionally. The game is tuned to be super dark until you switch to your flashlight, which you cannot use at the same time as your weapon. This was largely met with derision from fans, but the combat is actually tuned around it. Juggling between seeing your enemy and shooting it creates a huge amount of drama and tension. It's actually kind of cool, just not that fun. A popular duct tape mod addressed this, as did Doom 3's BFG Edition remaster though.
Okay, so here we go. This is a flashlight moment. So if I had to actually switch to my flashlight here, you can see how that would be different because I would basically be in the dark while I'm trying to avoid fireballs.
The new demon designs are sapped of color and charm, turning iconic abominations into run-of-the-mill Umbrella BOWs, and it's impossible to envision them as anything but their counterparts in the 2005 movie. The aesthetic is very of its era and just doesn't quite match what we'd come to expect from Doom. Doom is a heavy metal mural airbrushed on the side of a speeding van, whereas Doom 3 is the embodiment of nu metal butt rock, more Mudvayne than Metallica. Decent for what it is, but it would take 12 more years before the series got a refresh with some actual riz. Some fans insist that Doom 64 is the true sequel to Doom 1 and 2. id closely supervised Midway Games' development of the N64 exclusive, resulting in an interesting but ultimately inconsequential side entry in the series, a Doom Gaiden. Doom 64 isn't hurt too much by its titular console's limitations, but there are fewer enemies thanks to small cartridge sizes, and the reduced animation frames on the shotguns really robs them of their kick. Worst of all, Midway couldn't get multiplayer working despite 4-player split-screen Doom deathmatches being a perfect fit for the system that gave us GoldenEye. Still, on the whole, the game looks great. Doom 64 has a uniquely bleak, gothic vibe with a gorgeous colored lighting system that's impressively sophisticated for the era. Instead of MIDI speed metal, the soundtrack is a dark ambient drone. There's no HUD, no grimacing Doom guy face, only subtle numbers and letters rendered in bleary N64 textures. The gameplay is largely the same, though a new scripted event system creates neat opportunities for map design. Doom 64 seems like the game Carmack's co-owners were afraid id was going to make. More Doom, slightly different. It's just not different enough to warrant a higher place on the list. Doom 64 is a fun, fascinating, evolutionary dead end. 32 new levels designed in-house by id, a bunch of new enemies, and just one new weapon was more than enough to make Doom 2 the highest-selling software program of 1994. Doom 2 is Doom refined. Old monsters are reconfigured in clever ways, while fresh faces like the Revenant and Archvile add more complexity to demon distribution. Your arsenal only has one addition, but it's a weapon that would come to define Doom, the Super Shotgun. So, with all this great new stuff, shouldn't Doom 2 be a straight upgrade to the original? It almost is, but Doom 2's map design just doesn't hit the same. Doom 2 was billed as hell on Earth, but the aging tech couldn't really produce convincing suburbs or downtown the same way Duke Nukem's build engine would a couple of years later. Doom 2 feels less of a journey than Doom. As shareware, the first game was divided into 3, later 4, clear episodes, with interstitial map screens between levels tracing your path of destruction across the moons of Mars until thy flesh is consumed by hell itself. As a boxed game from the get-go, Doom 2 is presented as a barely connected 32-level megawad. The game supposedly depicts a full-on demon invasion of Earth, but this is mostly conveyed through 3 different skyboxes. Doom 2 has some great maps and lots of innovative twists on the formula, but on the whole, it's a less cohesive and satisfying package than the first game. At the time, map quality didn't matter quite as much. Fans had already been sharing their own custom levels en masse, passed around as WAD files via floppy disks and 28 kilobaud modems. Doom 2 is almost more notable as a platform than as a standalone title. It gave modders and wadders a chance to shine and even go legit. A group called Team TNT created 2 megawads that impressed id so much that they bought the rights and slapped them together for retail as Final Doom. Originally considered as the official 3rd game in the series, today these maps and others have been fully incorporated into the canon by modern releases of Doom 2. It makes the game a more comprehensive product, but that's not enough to elevate it above our next and most recent entry. The Dark Ages couldn't be more different from Doom 2. A sequel that refuses to offer more of the same, it takes a sharp turn away from the neon frenzy of Doom Eternal into a grim and gothic new setting with drastically altered gameplay to match. Stand and fight is more than just a marketing slogan, it's the only way you're going to take down some bosses and batter enemies. Melee combat means getting up close and personal with monsters, trading mace blows and shotgun blasts in a boxing match from hell. Projectiles move more slowly, choking the battlefield with patterns that evoke bullet hell shmups and Serious Sam. Glory kills are a shadow of their former, well, glory, taking a back seat to the new rhythms of the Dark Ages' combat. The most impactful new addition to the Doom formula is the parry, which allows the player to deflect green attacks with the integral new shield saw. It's the backbone around which the game is designed, and while it may not click with everybody, once you're locked in, there's nothing quite like charging buckler first across the battlefield to smash some skulls. The Dark Ages brings a few firsts to the franchise, like friendly NPCs fighting alongside the Slayer, and difficulty sliders to make the series more accessible. It's also the first game since Doom 64 to lack any kind of multiplayer. The Slayer trilogy's online components may have been a noble but largely perfunctory effort. id decided to ditch it entirely and focus on making the most compelling campaign they could, exchanging multiplayer and snap map for dragon riding and giant mechs. You have to give modern id credit, they just will not make the same game twice. Doom Eternal is everything a fan of Doom 2016 would expect from a sequel, and while the vibe is different from its predecessor, the whole experience feels more vibrant and alive. The Doom franchise isn't exactly known for its awe-inspiring vistas and diverse biomes, but Eternal impressively mixes snow levels and Baroque ivory fortresses in with the usual tech bases and fleshy hellscapes. We're not used to seeing this kind of environmental variety in Doom, and it's a refreshing change of pace. When it comes to combat, Doom Eternal asks a lot more of you than 2016. Ammo is much more scarce, forcing you to juggle through most of your weapons in nearly every fight. Choosing the right gun for the right enemy and exploiting their weak spots is essential, though some fans argue that the Marauders, dark Doom Guy counterparts with a limited vulnerability window, are a bridge too far for the power fantasy.
Warning, all ARC personnel, the mortally challenged have entered the compound. Evacuation is advised.
Doom Eternal's biggest flaw, perhaps, is that it's doing too much. Doomslayer has new guns and enemies to deal with, a meat hook to yank yourself across the battlefield, and a shoulder cannon with grenades and bombs and fire belches that are crucial for survival, on top of an avalanche of additional collectibles, resources, and upgrade trees. Even the Slayer himself has gotten a little too big for his armored green britches, having somehow come into possession of a massive outer space fortress between games, a vast hub to explore that has plenty of great Easter eggs and secrets, but also a lot of locked doors and samey looking hallways to get lost in. Speaking of getting lost, Doom Eternal suffers under a sheer mountain of lore. Endless paragraphs of indecipherable sci-fi fantasy with more proper nouns than a phone book are at your bloody fingertips. To some, it's a welcome addition that makes the series that much richer. For others, it's an albatross around the neck of Doom's action-first ethos. Start shooting as soon as the screen melts. It's an excellent sequel, superior to its predecessor in many ways, but as a total package, it falls just slightly short of what came before. Doom 2016 is the platonic ideal of Doom. It marries the kinetic and aesthetic purity of the original with a winking, self-aware tone that evokes not just the first game's hurt me plenty attitude, but society's perception of the series. This is the Doom we envisioned in our adolescent brains. It's the Doom of the infamous 90s comic, the ultra-violent nightmare that Jack Thompson and Joe Lieberman warned us about, and it is glorious. But Doom 2016 almost didn't happen. Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin salvaged Doom 4 from the shores of development hell by stripping it into a back-to-basics, gleefully indulgent romp that fully rekindles the lost soul of the series. It's no coincidence that the retro boomer shooters comeback began right around Doom 2016. The aggressive, push-forward gameplay has you leaping onto cacodemons in mid-air as Mick Gordon's impossibly detuned guitars belch out riffs of pure hype. It's here we first see the glory kills, expanded on in future sequels, but never quite as elegant as their debut. Keep it simple is the operative phrase of Doom 2016, and sometimes to its detriment. Unlike later games, there's little incentive to cycle through your weapons. It's easy to let the rockets or the SSG carry you to the Spider Mastermind. Still, the bare-bones approach is appreciated, particularly when it comes to the plot. It was John Carmack who famously compared video game stories to those of X-rated movies. Quote, "It's expected to be there, but not important." Doom 2016's less is more approach is extremely refreshing after the dense metal-hurlant nightmares of its sequels. The storytelling is never really bad in Eternal or the Dark Ages, but also never quite as funny as the Doomslayer seething with impatient rage as exposition drones on. It took some huge guts to name the 2016 reboot simply Doom, but that very confidence is what propels this game to greatness. There's only one shooter in the world that could possibly top Doom 2016. But first, no evaluation of Doom would be complete without a tip of the hat to the legions of modders and map designers who have truly made the game their own. Carmack designed the Doom engine to be easily altered, with assets conveniently packaged into files called WADs for Where's All the Data. This enabled everything from custom levels to total conversions. You can play Zelda in Doom, visit Jerry Seinfeld's apartment, blast through breakfast cereal in Chex Quest. The possibilities were limitless, especially once the engine went open source. Games like Brutal Doom and Sulaco can look shockingly modern on ancient id tech, while MyHouse.wad uses the engine's infamous quirks to weave a non-Euclidean liminal nightmare. Doom is an awesome open source success story, and the community and careers it's inspired over the decades is a huge part of the series' legacy. The original Doom has more than earned its spot on the Mount Rushmore of first-person shooters. Anyone can pick up the game today, whether through a fan-made source port or an official re-release, and immediately understand the assignment. Run, gun, rip, and tear. Find keys and snag power-ups to keep Doom Guy alive as he stares bullets through your soul from the UI. There's no mouse look in the original Doom. Aiming on the Y-axis literally doesn't matter, and you can hit that imp on a ledge above you as long as it's centered on your gun. Doom Guy cannot jump, and his only interaction with the world besides shooting, punching, and chainsawing is a single use button that you'll spam endlessly as you search each legendary map for secret doors. To say Doom has aged is to say Tetris or Pac-Man has aged. Its simplicity is its greatest strength. There's almost no friction between you and the coveted flow state towards which all action games aspire. Doom's kinetic appeal makes it immortal. Released as shareware, anyone with a working PC was free to play the first episode of Doom, from the iconic first moments of E1M1 to beating the Bruiser Brothers in Phobos Anomaly. You could mail a check to id if you wanted more, but the sheer accessibility and availability of Knee Deep in the Dead's 9 perfect levels all but assured Doom's dominance. Doom became shorthand for gaming itself. The moral panic over video game violence resulted in pundits and politicians alike warning parents of the gory, demonic slaughter simulator warping their children's minds, blaming the shooter for real-world tragedies. It's a sad footnote in an otherwise unparalleled success story and a formative moment in gaming history that helped shape a still developing industry. At the start of every new project, the current developers at id play through the original Doom to refamiliarize themselves with its brilliance and look for interesting new ways to expand the formula. Every single entry on this list is in some way a response to the first game, either trying to recapture its glory or recreate what makes it fun. Some games succeed, others have faltered, but they're all chasing after perfection that was already achieved in 1993. Doom is still the best Doom. Thanks for watching. Now tell us, where does your favorite Doom rank on the spectrum? Would you have put Eternal above 2016? Should we have included the surprisingly awesome mobile phone RPGs? Leave a comment, let us know, and make sure you follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.